Many stakeholders representing a wide cross-section of public and private sectors came out to the two-day meeting, which was held at the MBIA's conference room. Samantha Dixon, Acting Deputy Coordinator at NADMA, explained the purpose of the meeting.
Coming out of the last 2 days, we've had stakeholders from a wide cross-section of agencies across the country, private, public sector, the government ministries, etc., all with a stakeholder, importance with drought and drought management. The intention is that we continue to work on a document that was started back in 2012 under a particular project. It has evolved, and we are proud to say that we're on the road to developing what we would call a drought risk management plan.
Also included in the workshop was the drafting of terms of reference to guide a special committee that will be tasked with dealing with drought issues. The workshop is being hosted by the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology and being supported by the OACS funding. Health and tourism are two of the areas that can be negatively affected by the issue of drought. Osbert Charles, Health Disaster Management Officer at the Ministry of Health, and Colonel Grant Hostialik of the Grenada Tourism Authority spoke on the matter.
Whereas the concentration was on other hazards before, mainly hurricanes and volcanoes, we are now realizing that drought is a very important area that we now have to look at. So it's one of the emerging hazards that Grenada is now concentrating on. And particularly as it relates to the health sector, drought do affect us in that because of the shortages of water during a drought period, we have a proliferation of vector-borne diseases. We also have outbreaks of the airborne diseases.
But as it relates to drought and drought risk management, it is critical at this time when we look at different aspects in the industry that is very important for the tourism industry. Now, for us, for example, whenever there's drought or there's very little rainfall over an extended period of time, you have a lot of stakeholders in the south because that is more or less where the tourism belt is. That is where the tourism belt is. And so you have the accommodation sector, you have the restaurants, of course you have other entities. It's a big commercial space. You have the airport authority, you have SGU, and we have a lot of critical mass in terms of what happens in the south. The Grand Anse Vendors Market, a lot of places where really depends on a lot of water. So, this not only helps us to see that from a perspective, but it also helps us to be able to plan for what is to come. Now, tourism is really dynamic, but it's also very fragile. And something like a drought can be devastating to Grenada.
Dixon says in the past, drought has not really affected Grenada as in recent times. However, she believes it should be included in the list of disasters likely to affect Grenada, and hence the timeliness of the discussions. Miguel Payne, 4GBN News.